Good afternoon. On today's news broadcast, a possible military uprising, whether the Governors will make it into the playoffs, plus local sports, weather, and more. APSU-TV News starts right now. Good afternoon and thanks for joining us. I'm Brandon Crosslin.
And I'm Rachel LeJeune.
Austin Peay's Theater and Dance Department will be performing The Cripple of Inishmaan this weekend at the Traherne Theater. The show times on Friday and Saturday are at 7:30 with matinees at 2 p.m. on Saturday and Sunday. This play was written by Martin McDonough and is being directed by professors of the theater department. General admission is $10 with student, military, and senior tickets being $5. For more information, contact the Theater and Dance Department at box office at apsu.edu or call at 931-221-7379.
A Tennessee family was shocked when they went to say goodbye to a family member, and the man in the casket was the wrong person. CNN's Jeremy Torres has the story.
The Brown family walked into the John P. Franklin Funeral Home. Mr. Brown's nephew, Dominique, says his family saw the casket the family picked out and his uncle's clothes, but they say those clothes were on the wrong person.
These people thinking they was kissing my uncle when they wasn't. They were kissing another man that's over in the morgue right now.
Benjamin Brown lost his legs due to complications with diabetes. That's one way Dominique knew for sure this was not his uncle.
Open up the casket. If this man got legs, this is not my uncle. Open up the casket, you see legs. Nice pair of slacks.
Dominique and other loved ones called the rest of the family to tell them what happened.
Got a call earlier this morning saying that they put my uncle's clothes on the wrong body.
This is Jasmine Mateen. She's had an incredibly difficult year after her daughter Tiara was killed in the Woodmore bus crash last November. That was the last time the family had a funeral here at Franklin.
We already going through the 1-year death anniversary.
Now, almost a year later, she and the rest of her family is mourning the loss of her Uncle Benjamin and trying to sort out what they call a big problem.
We feel real disrespected.
We called the funeral home several times today to get their side of the story. They would not answer our questions, but they did send this statement saying, in part, we have been in communication with the members of the family who are directly responsible for the arrangements, and we are committed to resolve any issues they may have. This family says tonight, they still don't understand how this happened.
There's nothing they can do to fix this problem.
Well, a regular day at a Tennessee foot and ankle clinic quickly turned into a life and death scenario. Dr. David Hawk says it all started with when an elderly man came in for a simple toenail trimming. Here's CNN's David Ball.
Hello.
A doctor's day can be very unexpected. However, podiatrist David Hawk's routine is pretty set in stone at Tennessee Foot and Ankle Clinic.
Any recent injuries or no new activities, nothing like that?
He takes care of everything from ingrown toenails to ankle and foot surgeries. But a regular visit for one man almost became his last.
I was just actually calling his name out, and I'm like, come on, you know, and just hoping he would come back to us.
The patient sat back in the chair,
lowered his head down,
then stopped breathing, and his heart stopped beating.
Lost the pulse, so I just proceeded to straddle him and basically just started the chest compressions, you know, like this.
It was a massive heart attack. Dr. Hawk says the man's eyes rolled in the back of his head. Nurses watched as the man stopped breathing. Dr. Hawk wasted no time and started CPR.
And I did a little more rigorous, I guess, chest compressions when we didn't get a pulse. I would just go a little harder. Then I felt some ribs break, you know, which and we're taught just to keep going, so I did. And then just probably a matter of seconds later, we got a pulse. So
the man flatlined 3 times, and if it weren't for the forceful chest compressions, doctors say the man would be dead.
But he said, you know, I've never seen someone survive with this particular EKG. And apparently the cardiologist at the hospital told him the same thing, that he'd never seen someone survive from this. So apparently he had a blood clot that it just, you know, the chest compressions just forced it through, and that's what apparently saved him. So.
The man survived and last remembers talking with Dr. Hawk, a doctor that normally saves souls, but this time actually saved a soul.
It wasn't his time to go, you know, so that's what it tells me. I was just in the right place at the right time and able to help him, and I just feel so fortunate for him and his family that he's hopefully going to be with them for the holidays.
More than 15,000 scientists signed a letter to all of humanity, and the message isn't good. It says that unless people change their habits, Earth will become unable to sustain life in the manner we know. A similar letter was issued by the science community 25 years ago. This follow-up letter notes that since that time, the population has grown up to 7.6 billion people. That's a 26% increase. And every other mammal, reptile, amphibian, and fish population declined by almost 30% during the same period. The letter also says the average global temperature has risen by over ½ degree Celsius, and carbon dioxide emissions have increased by 62%. The only area where mankind has made progress is in shrinking the hole in the ozone layer. Scientists say there's still time to reverse the damage if we reduce waste, employ green technology, and establish nature reserves. For more on the weather, let's head over to Rachel LeJeune.
Hey guys, I'll be doing your weather today. So let's take a look at our current national temperatures. Right now up in Seattle, we have a low of 45 degrees. Down in Los Angeles, it's still pretty warm over at 70. Up in the middle in Denver, we got 65. Down in Dallas, it's a 78. Up in Chicago, it's a 45, just like Seattle. Down in Atlanta, it's 62. Up in New York, it's 49. Let's take a look at Tennessee's today's highs. So in Clarksville, we have a 63, so that's pretty good. Nashville, it's a 65. Down in Memphis, it's a 72. Over in Chattanooga, it's a 66. Up in Knoxville, we have a 62. Let's take a look at today's lows. So in Memphis, we have a 65. Over in Clarksville and Nashville, we have a 57. Down in Chattanooga, we have a 50. And Knoxville is at your 46. So let's take a look at our current national temperature. Right now, it's a 59 degrees with a south-southeast wind at 8 miles per hour. Tonight's temperature is going to be 58 degrees, south winds at 17 miles per hour, and a little bit of rain tonight, so it's a 10% chance. So we have a big game this weekend. It's the military game. It's versus Austin Peay versus Eastern Illinois. It's going to be a little rainy, 57 degrees at 4 p.m., so I would bring a jacket for sure, or an umbrella. In the fourth quarter, we have 47 degrees and it'll be cloudy. So you might not want that rain jacket, but you might want to have a coat to warm up. And here's your 5-day forecast. So on Friday, we have partly cloudy with a high of 63, low of 57. Saturday, it's going to be rain, thunder, and wind with a high of 67, low of 33. On Sunday, it's going to clear up and be pretty sunny at a high of 46 and a low of 28. Monday, it's going to be mostly sunny with a high of 53, low of 35. And Tuesday, the clouds are going to come back out. It'll be a high of 58 and a low of 34. Still ahead, we have Brandon Crosslin with your political corner, and Brice Bement tells us what's happening in the world of sports. APSU-TV News will be right back.
Welcome back. Now for today's political corner. A group of Democratic lawmakers Wednesday introduced new articles of impeachment against President Trump. The gist of this most recent effort to oust the president argues that Trump is a danger to the nation. Congresswoman Steve Cohen is sponsoring the resolution.
We're calling upon the House to begin impeachment hearings immediately. We have taken this action because of great concern for our country and our Constitution, our national security, and our democracy. We believe that President Trump has violated the Constitution, and we've introduced 5 articles of impeachment.
The effort focuses on several accusations, including that Trump obstructed justice by firing FBI Director James Comey. The resolution asserts that Trump violated the Constitution's foreign emolument clause, which bars officials from accepting gifts from foreign governments. The lawmakers say Trump also ran afoul of the domestic emoluments clause by profiting from his office. Finally, they accuse Trump of undermining the courts and the press. That's all for today's Political Corner. Now for Rachel.
Thanks, Brandon. Tomorrow, November 18th, the Govs will play their military appreciation game against Eastern Illinois at the Fortieri Stadium at APSU at 4 p.m. This is the last regular season game of one of the most successful seasons in APSU history. The Govs are currently number 2 in the OVC, and if they win this game, they could make it into the playoffs for the first time in our program's history. For more information on what's happening in football, let's head over to Brice Bement for a look at your Gov Sports update.
It was a big week for APSU sports. Let's start with football. The Govs play their last home game of the year against Eastern Illinois University at 4 p.m. tomorrow, Saturday at Tiara Stadium. The Govs will be coming off a 31-24 win on the road against Eastern Kentucky University. Freshman quarterback Jeremiah Oatsvall had 11 completed passes out of 15 attempts and a total of 203 yards. Oatsvall also contributed to the scoreboard with 2 touchdowns. Freshman running back Ahmad Tanner had 14 rush attempts with a gain of 91 yards and 1 touchdown. Senior wide receiver Kyron Moore had 2 receptions of 100 yards that landed in 1 touchdown of the game. The Govs have to win the game against Eastern Illinois to move on to playoffs. Besides winning, the Govs also have to rely on other teams on the bubble around the country to lose. After that, it will come down to the playoff committee to make the decision. The game against Eastern Illinois will be available to watch on the OVC Digital Network and Gov Sportsnet. Now to basketball. Both men's and women's basketball had home openers this week. Let's start with the men's. The Govs are currently 2-2 with a win in their exhibition game against Sewanee. The Govs then went on the road and lost to Vanderbilt University and the University of Virginia. The Govs played Wednesday, November 15th at 7 p.m. against Oakland City and came out with a huge 109-50 win for the home opener. Senior Avery Ugba was the player of the game for Austin Peay, shooting 8 for 9 on the field with 17 points. Freshman Dayton Gum is definitely a player to watch for the Govs with a total of 25 points total in the game. Gum shot 11 for 16 on the field. The Govs will be playing UNC Asheville on this Sunday, November 19th at 2 p.m. at the Dunn Center. This game will also be available to watch on the OVC Digital Network and Gov Sportsnet. Now on to women's basketball. The Lady Govs are currently 2-1 with wins over Kentucky Wesleyan and Christian Brothers University and a loss against Butler. The Govs are coming off a 73-50 win over Christian Brothers University on Tuesday at their home opener. Freshman Brianna Furby led the Govs with 16 points, shooting 7 for 11 on the field. Senior Bree Williams shot 5 for 7 on the field with a total of 14 points. Williams was also 2 for 2 on the three-point line and free throw line. The Govs will play Trevecca on Sunday, November 19th at 4:30 p.m. at the Dunn Center after the men's game. The game will also be available to watch on the OVC Digital Network and Gov Sportsnet. Now, lastly, volleyball. The Govs recently became OVC Conference champs after their win over Morehead State University. Junior setter Kristen Stucker and senior Ashley Slay both won first-team OVC awards. Stucker won OVC Setter of the Year, while Slay won OVC Player of the Year. Redshirt junior Christina White and freshman Brooke Moore both won second-team OVC awards. Head coach Taylor Mott also won OVC Coach of the Year. The Govs won their first round of conference tournament with a 3-0 win over Southeast Missouri State University. The Govs won the first set 25-18. The second set was underway and the Govs came back winning 25-19. And then the third set was an exciting win with a score of 25-13. Christina White led for the Govs with 14 kills. Moore followed her with 11 total kills in the game. Kristen Stucker had 43 assists on the match. And senior Allie O'Reilly also contributed to the win with 18 digs in the match. O'Reilly recently won a Govs award for 1,000 career digs. The Govs will play Eastern Kentucky tonight, Friday, November 17th at 5 p.m. at the Dunn Center. The game will also be available to watch on the OVC Digital Network. That's all the time we have for sports. APSU-TV News will be right back.
Welcome back. The situation in Zimbabwe remains tense as the country awaits with bated breath for clarity on what has transpired in the past 48 hours. A day after the apparent coup, some say they believe President Mugabe should step down. Others think any transition should be done according to the Constitution. As CNN's David McKenzie reports, in the midst of all the uncertainty, no one doubts that, at least for now, the military are the ones in charge.
A cautious drive reveals a new reality here.
There's some serious firepower over here from the army, and it's quite extraordinary because all of this is parked right outside the headquarters of the Presidential Guard. That's really a sign. They're hemming them in. And look, there's some more military over here. It's a checkpoint, but just be careful.
The Presidential Guard once said it would die for Mugabe, but now, like the rest of the country, it takes its orders from the army. The question, how long will the soldiers remain on these streets?
I think it would appear that he has lost all power.
Opposition leaders like Morgan Shangarai asking, will free elections ever happen?
Is this a coup that has happened in Zimbabwe?
The military said it's not a coup. It's not a military takeover.
But the tanks are on the streets.
Yes, but what I can say is that it is unconstitutional. Whatever you want to describe it is unconstitutional because you can't force the change of government by any means other than through the ballot box.
Yes, we are. How are you, man?
In the capital, Zimbabweans are holding their breath.
Good, man. How are you? How are you? What do you think? What do you think? What's happening right now in the country?
We don't know.
You don't know what's happening?
What is happening? What is happening? What we know is that the soldiers are in control.
Robert Mugabe has been in power longer than most Zimbabweans have been alive. Any dissent was stamped out, while Mugabe presided over a near collapse of this economy.
As far as the people of Zimbabwe, they didn't see the light at the end of the tunnel.
For so long they've seen desperation, so they dare not hope for too much.
Do you think Robert Mugabe should leave?
Yes. We need a new president and we need bread and butter.
Just something better. David Mackenzie, CNN, Harare, Zimbabwe.
London's Metropolitan Police announced on Thursday that 71 people died in the Grenfell Tower fire. The death toll includes a stillborn baby. The criminal investigation is still going. And for the relatives of the victims, the search for justice continues. CNN's Aaron McLaughlin reports.
Floor by floor, room by room, they searched the Grenfell Tower block for months looking for human remains. Described as a mammoth effort which pushed the bounds of science, police now say with confidence 71 souls lost their lives that tragic night in June, including Hesham Rahman. He lived on the top floor of the tower block, flat 204. We spoke to his nephew about what the death toll means to him.
The coroner, Dr. Wilcox, and her team have done an amazing job, to help us in this difficult moment and help get our loved ones back. We now need to start the long journey to get justice for these people that died, for our loved ones that died, our friends and families that died. We have to make sure they didn't die like this for nothing.
What do you want the world to remember about your uncle?
My uncle was a hero. In his final moments, there are videos that we were able to find through social media of him entering a neighbor's flat, and you could hear him comforting young kids. And we're holding on to this, so tightly. He was a hero, and I want the world to see and know that.
Not far from the tower block is this church and a makeshift memorial. People still stop here to lay flowers, light candles, and leave mementos symptomatic of an open and persistent wound. The local reverend tells me he hopes that this news of a confirmed death toll will open up a new phase in the grieving process for this community. You can see just over this way, police cars. Grenfell Tower is still an active crime scene, and people here in this community continue to cry out for justice. Aaron McLaughlin, CNN London.
On today's Health Minute, the headline reads, "Put out that butt." Thursday, the American Cancer Society hosts the Great American Smokeout. In today's Health Minute, CNN's Mary Maloney explains how the Smokeout aims to help people quit smoking.
Put down that cigarette and join the Great American Smokeout. Since the 1970s, the American Cancer Society dedicated a day to kick the habit.
I think we need a reminder to quit. I think people often have it in the back of their minds, but it's really nice to get a push.
According to the American Cancer Society, about 36.5 million people in the U.S. still smoke, but stopping can be tough.
For most people, they really need to make a plan, and they need support. So it's very important that they think through how they're going to quit and then follow through with that.
Smoking is associated with at least 12 cancers, and according to the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention, it kills 480,000 people in the U.S. every year. But experts at the Cancer Society say quitting, even for one day, helps your health.
If you quit before the age of 35, you can gain most of the life years lost from smoking tobacco products. So you're looking on average of a 10-year loss, and you can gain 9 of those back if you quit. But even if you're older, you can still gain life years back. So there is a motivation to quit even well into your elderly years.
For today's Health Minute, I'm Mary Maloney.
What started as a woodworking project for Seattle dads snowballed into a community effort with the results that are nothing short of magical. CNN's Jeremy Roth has today's Take a Look at This.
A Seattle dad's woodworking project has turned into something truly magical. Jonathan Chambers built a life-size version of Diagon Alley in his driveway. It's a recreation of the magical shopping street from the Harry Potter movies. It started as a gift for his daughters, but quickly turned into a community effort. Chambers raised thousands for the project on social media, and with some help from area residents, he built it in just 17 days. Thousands have visited the Wizarding Mini World since it opened for Halloween, and Chambers is using the project's popularity to raise funds for local schools as well as pancreatic cancer research. Police in Houston are looking for two suspects that used a power saw to pull off a heist. A surveillance camera captured the two men breaking into a car dealership. Sparks flew as the men used the power saw on a safe for almost an hour. To make matters worse, the robbery took place during Hurricane Harvey, and police were unable to respond because of the flooding. The suspects eventually made off with an undisclosed amount of money. If caught, they'll face stiffer punishment for breaking in during a natural disaster. And from too late to just in the nick of time, watch as a Good Samaritan in Aurora, Colorado swoops in and pulls a visually impaired man back from train tracks mere moments before a light rail train barrels through the crossing. Thanks to the quick actions of the man, no one was injured. For Take a Look at This, I'm Jeremy Roth.
Well, a lot coming up in such a short period of time. We got the EIU Military Appreciation Game tomorrow. Also, it'll be GOM Day, so that means we're going to have a bunch of high schoolers joining the GOM on the field. It's going to be massive. And some more basketball games on Sunday, and then Thanksgiving.
Thanksgiving. I'm excited for Thanksgiving.
Oh, very excited. My favorite holiday.
All the food, all the sleep, all the family. I enjoy it. It's the best time. Also, I have a question. I've always wondered, what is the GOM? Like, what does it stand for?
The GOM is the Governor's Own Marching Band.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Some people say it's GOM. It's GOM.
Which we have our own member.
Yeah. That's all the time we have for today. Be sure to join us in the interaction by liking us on Facebook at facebook.com/APSU-TV News.
Thanks for watching another edition of your Gov's News Weekend Update.
And as always, let's go Peay.